So today I'm going to be doing my presentation on utilitarianism, specifically act utilitarianism. Act utilitarianism is the utilitarian theory of ethics that states the morally right action is the one that produces the best results and overall happiness. An example of this is during the COVID pandemic, ICU beds were limited, selecting who to give those beds to dependent on the overall outcome. The blueprint for utilitarianism, we can use the hedonic calculus. We can look at duration, how long is the outcome going to last. We can also look at intensity, how intense is the solution going to be. Propinquity, how soon will we get the outcome that we're hoping for. Extent, how widely does it cover? How many will benefit from this outcome? Is it going to only affect a few, or is it going to affect, the general public, for as an example? Certainty, how certain is it that this outcome is that this choice is going to give, the outcome that we're hoping for, the outcome of, the most happiness. And then we can look at purity. How free from pain is this? How free from pain is making this choice going to be? Is it going to be a painful, is it going to be painful for some, or, for a big group, or painful for some but not others? And then that can be used to deem the choice morally correct or not. Fecundity, does it lead to further pleasure? Is it going to be, for example, happiness in the beginning, and then stay that way, forever? Or is it going to be happiness and then it won't be, and then it'll be, get worse? Or will it just, continue to get better, continue to be, get happier? Let's talk. I wanted to talk about the Hunger Games. When we look at the Hunger Games, I think it does have to do with act utilitarianism. In this story, the capital and the government deemed the Hunger Games as the best solution because the overall outcome of keeping the peace and preventing rebellion was the morally correct thing to do, in their opinion. Understanding act utilitarianism, in my opinion, is very important, because the use of this ethical theory defines morality based on overall happiness as the outcome. In the situation with the Hunger Games were deemed the best solution because the outcome of peace and preventing rebellion, according to the government, was the best outcome and provided the greatest amount of happiness. In my opinion, the problem with this approach is that not everyone was benefiting from this outcome. When we look at the people in the capital, they would deem this as morally correct because they were enjoying the benefits of peace and preventing rebellion, but at what cost? In my opinion, they didn't look at what cost. What had to be sacrificed for them to have this. If we look at the districts, they weren't benefiting from this. They were being affected by the Hunger Games in a non-positive way. The Hunger Games were very intense. They would include having, people fight for their lives, fight to survive. And so this caused a lot of pain to many people. And this was all deemed morally correct because it was under the guise of being the choice that provided the most overall overall happiness because it kept peace and prevented rebellion. But whose peace was it keeping? Because it wasn't the people in the districts. And I think this is an actual weakness in act utilitarianism, when we focus solely on the outcome, because the outcome doesn't always affect everyone equally, and some might be negatively affected by this solution, in regards to others benefiting from it. I did want to say that I had to do it this way because I could not figure out how to add the sound on PowerPoint. I tried and I just couldn't, so I had to do it this way.